If the testimony coming out of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry this week is anything to go by, the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department has, over the past few years, become a cesspool of corruption and criminality. As allegations came in thick and fast at the commission, the EMPD's acting chief, Brigadier Julius Mkhwanazi, has finally been placed on suspension. Mkhwanazi has been implicated in a scheme to unlawfully fit vehicles belonging to alleged criminal kingpin Vusimuzi Cat Matlala with official police blue lights under a disguised scheme purporting to be an official partnership between the EMPD and Matlala's security company. But even more disturbing have been allegations of the Specialised Services Unit that Mkhwanazi headed up, allegedly operating as a rogue unit, engaging in crimes including extortion, theft, kidnapping and even murder. In all of this, Mkhwanazi is alleged to have enjoyed the protection of then city manager Dr. Imogen Mashazi, to whom the controversial top cop pledged unwavering loyalty. So for some reaction and analysis, two guests join us. Professor Wendell Norke will not be joining us, but I'm joined, in fact, Professor Wendell Norke is joining us, but Dr. Simon Howell is the one who will not join us. Professor Norke, good afternoon and thank you for your time. So lots of disturbing testimony coming through there as far as the EMPD is concerned. And it could have been quite easy for many people to say, well, that's happening in Ekurhuleni. I don't live in Ekurhuleni, you know, depending on where a person is in the country. Tell me why that testimony, as localized as it is, to that department of the city of Ekurhuleni is important and has, you know, an import on the bigger scheme of law enforcement.
Thank you so much, Tilasizwe. Good afternoon to you and your viewers and listeners. Thank you so much. So, I mean, I can start off with the definition of corruption. So corruption is the abuse of entrusted power for private gain. And we entrust these individuals who head these institutions. It can be a National Prosecuting Authority, it can be the SABC, it can be the EMPD, which we're speaking about now. And we trust in what they do. And especially law enforcement, we hope that they will protect and serve us. Similar to SABC, they take the mandate from the Police Services Act. But what we instead have received is we've received this to serve and with the intent to harm. Because this testimony is very damning, what we've seen. So looking back at the corruption definition, you see the abuse of entrusted power. So there's always an abuse of power in these situations, especially with people who have that power. And you normally will be looking at high-profile individuals, like also the deputy chief, etc. And in our case, we've even had the president also involved, allegedly, in corrupt activities. So for private gain. And these activities are usually very much covered up, secretive. And in the police service, especially, it's very interesting. You have what we call a blue code of silence. And that can apply to the EMPD as well, because some individuals within that institution will not speak about it, will not expose criminality. But we do have individuals we see now at these commissions. So some might argue or criticize the commissions. It costs a lot of money now. We have two commissions now, the apartheid criminality as well as the criminal justice system. But we then do have these individuals coming forward and exposing the rot in the criminal justice system, and specifically now in the EMPD. But with that comes this huge risk of your life as a whistleblower. And unfortunately, in this case, we see Ekurhuleni being murdered, as well as, I think it was Lieutenant Colonel Tepa,
yes,
who also testified about how she was kidnapped twice.
Yeah. And
told by the kidnappers, they told her, you must be quiet at work. Don't say anything at work. The kidnappers telling her that. That obviously shows us that those kidnappers were employed by some individuals in the EMPD.
Yeah.
Similar to what we saw happen to Babita Deokaran, who was murdered in a Tembisa hospital scan.
Yeah.
And what's frustrating is we're not seeing prosecutions, of course. As a community, we want to see prosecutions. But what I think what's even more important is not necessarily pointing out individuals who are rotten. That must happen. The wheels of justice will turn.
Yeah.
But what we must be looking at is the systemic change in our criminal justice system,
Yeah.
which is currently rotten.
In fact, Prof, let's pick up on that systemic change as opposed to focusing on individuals, because individuals can be removed, but systems will remain. And until we've addressed the systems, whoever we replace, we better hope and pray that that person is rightly aligned. And if they're not, we're back where we started. Talk a bit more about what the testimony of Lieutenant Colonel Kilebogile Tepa reveals about those systems. You spoke about a blue code of silence and the price of breaching that code of silence, which I believe we saw in full display from the testimony that she delivered.
I think it's about control. So these individuals who are committing these criminal acts, and we can call them actually a criminal enterprise. It's pretty close. But in terms of the Prevention of Organised Crime Act, one can only really categorize a criminal enterprise if it's been running for 10 years, and if there are certain crimes, 2 crimes or more have been committed, such as kidnapping and murder and extortion, all these racketeering crimes. First, racketeering, sort of your mafia type crimes. And they want to maintain control, absolutely, because they are getting a lot of money, like I said in the corruption definition, for private gain. That's what you have. And that's why you see these individuals sometimes driving these luxurious vehicles and staying in these mansions, their family members as well. And you have then these individuals who are honest, who are loyal, who follow the EMPD Code of Ethics. I've had a look at it. It says we must uphold the Constitution. Did Brigadier Mkhwanazi uphold the Constitution? Did he refrain from engaging in corrupt activities? It's in the Code of Conduct of the EMPD. No, he did not. So those individuals who did take the oath and who are standing up against that criminality causes a problem for these individuals who have the power, because then they see they can lose this power if there is an individual who will expose them, who will expose the rot. And unfortunately, that comes with a huge risk. So what we need to do, we need to enhance our whistleblower protection laws, which is currently at legislative. The whistleblower protection draft bill will be sent out for comment soon. But that's not enough. We need to look at how we can remove these criminal elements out of our criminal justice system. Some solutions would be, for example, to have regular lifestyle audits of these individuals. Or how can they be driving a 2 million rand car if they're only earning a certain amount of money? How can they be staying in that area, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah.
That needs to be done by independent experts, not those that are being employed by the EMPD themselves, because they will just employ individuals who will fit their purpose, and not the truth and honesty. And then also independent vetting. What we've also saw at the testimony is that I think there was about 250 or more police officers at the EMPD who was appointed with criminal records and who weren't even vetted, no fingerprint vetting, etc. So this is a huge concern.
Yeah.
So it might not just be the EMPD. There might be other institutions as well where this is happening. That's why we have the Madlanga Commission to expose this.
Just very briefly then, Prof, talk to me about the importance of a strong administrative arm. In this instance, it's demonstrated in the relationship between the EMPD as a department of the broader city of Ekurhuleni, and the allegation being made that Brigadier Mkhwanazi was enjoying the protection from accountability of the then city manager. City manager represents the head of the administration. You can substitute that for EMPD, for a government department in the province, for a national department. How important is it, and what can we do to fix up that top level of the administration such that it is a buffer against some of the practices that you and I are discussing this afternoon?
Yeah, that's an excellent point, because you're mentioning those individuals who have actually allowed this to happen. So if you have your local government employees, and in this case, Johannesburg city managers, also involved in these activities, knowing of these activities, then you have a problem, because they would usually appoint these experts or independent people to come in and look at possible corruption in the sector. But so what this means is you actually then also need, we don't have a Madlanga Commission for local government, so we need to look at our individuals who are perhaps giving a lot of control or power to our criminal justice system, like you said, those above them, but then also ensure that there's lifestyle audits there. Because if you're only going to conduct it at the EMPD level, what about the level up? Because most likely, the individuals at city manager level will also benefit from corruption in a way. And what the problem here is that we need the MPA, especially the asset forfeiture unit, to come in, especially also where there's confiscation or forfeiture proceedings. And unfortunately, I've been in contact with the MPA. They have a lack of forensic experts currently. So it's difficult for them to investigate properly, and there's so many cases. And we need to look at, the ANC, NEC talked about it, we need to look at giving a lot more money to anti-corruption efforts. But the individuals who are employed at these anti-corruption agencies must also not be corrupt. Otherwise, it cannot work. And then we cannot have a rule of law inside.
Yeah, Prof, thank you for your time this afternoon. I'm pretty sure these are themes that you and I will return to quite a lot in the coming weeks and coming months. That's Professor Windel Norke, who joined us there, reflecting on the testimony that came out of the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. This is the Weekend Review on SABC News. Still lots more to come, including focusing on a recent extradition from the Kingdom of Eswatini. We'll tell you about that and a lot more in a moment.